Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here. Went by January 15th DVD update. I talk about all the DVDs and Blu-rays I've gotten over the last 2 weeks or so. Now, the first one I wanted to mention was on January 22nd, Witch's Brew, a really cool film that I made, a horror film about a witch that curses this beer because the guys run over their, a cat, which is her sister. Everyone who drinks the beer dies all these crazy deaths. This is a really fun one. Would definitely check this one out. Check out the trailer online for that. I'll put that underneath of it. But I said it comes out January 22nd. Amazon, BestBuy.com, all those places. Now, the first one I want to talk about from Universal is End of Watch, which is really cool, police film. And the way it's filmed, it's like done with all kinds of different mixed media with like cameras like GoPro cameras, 7Ds, the cameras that they wear, which is like the GoPro ones, like the pen cameras. They use every type of, thing to this, and it really gives it like a documentary kind of feel to it, but it's not exactly like that though. The movie's about these two cops who are, they take their job seriously, but they're also kind of screwing around a bit. The one guy, I think it's Jake Gyllenhaal's character, is in a film program. He's at school. So he takes these classes on the side, and one of his electives was like a film class. So he's filming everything that he does. The people that he works with are like, why are you always filming? He has the cameras that they both wear. He has a camera. He's always filming, everything they do. So it's a mix of his camera, and then just the regular movie, cameras and things like that. But it's like a mix of all that stuff. But it adds to the vibe of this. But these are cops that really don't always think about everything that they're doing, but they have such a great, chemistry together as friends, and the scenes with them driving around in the car together are great. But they end up, getting themselves into something they shouldn't. They're going into a situation, and what they do ends up causing a terrible reaction of events, of things that are happening to them, because they were getting themselves into a situation they shouldn't have, which is dealing with this gang. And they end up discovering something in this house, and by discovering this, they basically end up become wanted. And that's all I want to say about it, but it was extremely well done. Really loved this film a lot. I really liked like I said, the way it was filmed. A very different approach, all steady cam mixed with all those kind of mixed media. But really thought this was a cool, I think this is one of the best of these kind of cop films. Definitely the most effective ones I've seen in a long time. The next one from Universal is For a Good Time Call. This one had a real limited theatrical run. I really wanted to see it. I remember the one theater up until like a month ago still had the coming soon thing up on the wall. It never ended up coming there. This is a movie, though, about two girls, and the one lived with her grandmother. Grandmother died. She thought where she lived was a rent-controlled place. They end up wanting to make it be a sale place, so they need to get her out of there, or she needs to end up having a roommate so she has more money. The other girl ended up just breaking up with her boyfriend, and the boyfriend wants her out of the house, and she can't afford to stay in the house. So Justin Long, they're both their best friends, but neither of them have gotten along for years and really haven't seen each other again since college, because the one girl peed in the car and threw it in her face. All these things happen, but they aren't friends. But they end up moving in together, and it starts out real like a rough thing. They aren't getting along, having all kinds of fights with each other, and then they end up, the one ends up finding out that the blonde girl does phone sex. And when she finds out about this, she thinks it's a great way to make money, and the movie's basically with them starting a phone sex line that gets very successful, and the people they talk to, and there's some really funny cameos in this with Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith has a great part in it. Seth Rogen has a really funny cameo in it when he's, in the bathroom, when he's about to fly. I don't know. I thought this was a really funny one. The only thing I would say I wish was there was a little bit more of Justin Long in this. I thought he was really funny in this. But that's basically the idea, is these girls starting this phone sex line, and how it starts to kind of get very successful, and their friendship and things like that. The next one is a cool road film, kind of like a 70s film. It's directed by Dax Shepard, and it stars him and Kristen Bell and Tom Arnold. And Dax Shepard is in the Witness Protection Program. for something that he, like a bad decision that he made with Bradley Cooper's character in the past. And Bradley Cooper's character is after him and has been trying to find him for years. He's out there living in the middle of nowhere with Kristen Bell. Kristen Bell ends up getting this job opportunity, which would mean they would have to leave where they are. And, Dax Shepard really can't leave, and the guy who's pretty much guarding him and checking up on him every couple of days is Tom Arnold, and Tom Arnold doesn't have it together, doesn't really know what he's doing, has a gun, is always getting in trouble with it, like setting it off in his car and getting into little accidents, but they end up going out on the road, and leaving together, Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell, because he doesn't want to hold her back from her job. And when they're on the road, Tom Arnold comes after them, and it's basically a road film with all the issues that come along the way. Dax Shepard is Bradley Cooper is the kind of villain in the film, which is trying to, which is after them because he gets wind that they're missing because Kristen Bell's ex-boyfriend is overprotective and lets know that he's gone. And it's that kind of a film, kind of a little bit like Smokey the Bandit or one of those kind of things. I really thought it was pretty good, though, and I really liked Tom Arnold in it. To me, Tom Arnold was some of the best stuff because he was so over the top and crashing his car, and it's like I said, it's a real 70s, 80s kind of film. Like, it feels like it's, made years ago. I really do like Dax Shepard. Liked him, when he was on Punk'd, and, and Without a Paddle, and I don't know, I thought this is a really funny one. And the next one I got from Disney is Frankenweenie. Now this is the feature-length version of the short film that he made in the early 80s. Now, if the original version didn't come out until like the late 80s, it kind of was just sort of not seen because it was a little bit dark at the time. And it was very dark. As a kid, I watched the tape when it came out, though, again and again. And there's just a couple things about the short version that I liked a little bit more. Like some of the music themes I thought were amazing in the original. And I thought there was like some emotional aspects to like the end of the original that I didn't get from the new one as much. I didn't think I just didn't feel like it had the same vibe. I also really loved Daniel Stern in it. And there was just something about it. It was just such a great one. This one, though, really was really, really well done. I mean, the animation in this is amazing. The stop motion. And it is a very cool film. I guess it's just I'm sort of a little bit nostalgic to the old one. Just because I grew up watching it so many times. But the movie, though, is about a boy and his dog. And, they make little shorts together. And they get, it's just, that kind of film. The dog ends up getting hit by a car and dies. And in school, he sees his teacher with a frog showing how with electricity he can make the frog move. He ends up bringing his dog back to life, and that's the basic thing. But then they added things to this one with other kids, doing the same type thing when they get wind of what he's done. That aspect, I thought, wasn't as strong to the movie. That was kind of the additional stuff that they added. I liked they kept a lot of the characters the same. Like they had the old woman that was afraid of the dog. I didn't think it was as weird as the short. A couple of the things, but I thought it was very well done. This also has a new short film on here. What's it called? It's Sparky and the Flying Saucers, which is very cool. But this looks great in 3D. Very cool, really good depth. I really do like that they decided to keep the movie in black and white as well. I thought that was a smart decision. But I would definitely check this out, and it does include the original short. So if you haven't seen the original one, definitely check that one out. And you can compare the two because it's cool to kind of compare the two because they kept pretty much everything from the original. It's just a couple things were different, and like I said too, there's just something about the music in the original which was so good. The next one from Fox is House on the End of the Street. Now this one was shot a number of years back, never ended up coming out, and I guess because of how good Jennifer Lawrence is, it finally has come out. And, didn't get, like, direct-to-video or something like that. I actually thought this was a pretty good one, though. I mean, I like this. But it was Jennifer Lawrence, who's a great actress and, was definitely, did a really good job in this. And it's her moving into a new house with her mom. And the house next door, like, across the street where, as this kid lives, and there's this the parents of this house were killed before by this girl, and the guy lives there, and he becomes friends with Jennifer Lawrence. They start liking each other, and it's just basically about this guy that everyone in the town thinks is weird, and her hanging out with this guy, and getting all these kind of looks, and that the girl is down there in the basement, and she's like going out, and he has to try and wrangle her back up and put her back down there. I don't know. I just like this one. I really thought it has a pretty cool twist to it. And this is the extended edition too, the unrated version. I'm not exactly sure the major differences of it though, because I've only, I couldn't tell what was the difference when I watched the unrated one. But I know there's some stuff though. But I really did think this is a pretty cool one. I know, though, like I said, it has a mixed opinion, but I love the cover on this too. The next one from Warner Brothers, and this is a classic, Driving Miss Daisy, and this is the digibook. Inside it's got pictures from the film, and also, if you love Dan Aykroyd too, pictures in the film, stuff about the movie. But the movie is about an old woman who's driving, and she's getting into accidents, and her son, played by Dan Aykroyd, ends up hiring a driver for her, a chauffeur played by Morgan Freeman. This is all set, I think it was like the 60s, the 50s or 60s, I can't remember exactly when it was, but it's during the time, it's segregation, all that kind of stuff is going on, and it's about this woman forming a unlikely friendship with Morgan Freeman's character that goes on for years, and that's the major thing, but it's a great character piece between these two people, extremely well acted. Every time I watch this, though, I always end up thinking of Stay Tuned, the Driving Over Miss Daisy segment. I don't know why. I always thought about that. I think that's what I saw first, before I saw this movie. As a kid, I saw that, and I was like, I always want to see what Driving Miss Daisy is. But it's a great, well-acted film, with Dan Aykroyd, too, as the son. Always a huge fan of Dan Aykroyd. This is a very good one. The next one, and this is, considered like a really sad, and I cried like a fiend at this. I had never seen this before. I've heard people on, everywhere talking about this. I even heard this guy who was a security guard in a movie talking about, a movie set talking about how he cried like a fiend to this on an airplane, and everybody was looking at him. And it was The Notebook. Like I said, I had never seen this before. Always was just interested in seeing this. Really am a fan of Ryan Gosling, especially since Drive. I thought Drive is an outstanding film. But this is a movie it opens up with a old man in a retirement center with reading to a woman with dementia. And, he's there reading her this story, and to her, and it goes to the story, shows the story about how Ryan Gosling's character met Rachel McAdams' character, who's been tons of stuff, Mean Girls and The Vow and all kinds of stuff, but he's reading, the old guy is reading the woman the story, and it's just talking about how the two met, and and then how have this extreme love, and how the girl's parents don't like Ryan Gosling because Ryan Gosling kind of works a regular Joe job on a construction site, and they all come from money. The mother really dislikes him, and they end up having a huge falling out because the parents don't want her to see him anymore. And it ends up going 7 years later. And, for a year straight, that Ryan Gosling was sending this girl letters, and the mother was not giving them to her. This is 7 years later, and, and what ends up happening. But it's such a great romantic thing. I like these kind of movies people say are chick flicks, like You Got Mail, and some of these things, and sometimes it's good to have a good cry to some of these movies, and you will have a good cry to this movie. I don't think anybody could watch this movie, especially at the end, and not have a good cry to this. And it's not like, it's, it's I don't know, really good though, but get ready to cry. And the next one I got from Magnolia is Compliance. This one was really good. It's all based on a true story. It's about a fast food restaurant, and this woman ends up getting a call from a guy saying that he's the cops, and telling her that a woman was there at the fast food place, and a blonde woman the girl working behind the register stole money from the woman's purse, and that she needs to go out there, take the girl that stole, bring her in the back room, and question her. So this guy is, saying all these things that they need to do, which is like go through the girl's clothes, strip search her, hold her back there, and bringing other people into the mix. And it was, I don't want to ruin anything about this, even though all the information is out there. I don't want anyone saying that I'm spoiling anything about what's going on. I don't want to spoil it if anyone doesn't know it. Like I said, though, it's someone on the phone that's saying he's the police, that's telling them to do all these crazy things. This was such a strong, well-made movie. Really loved the cast in this. Really extremely effective, and just the whole thing about what was going on, and about people doing things just because someone says there's something, that says they're the cop. And I'm not saying if he was or wasn't, but either way, even if it was a cop on the phone, the things that they were doing and doing to this girl is crazy. And the fact that this all really happened was just, I don't know, I would highly recommend this one. Very well acted, very well made film. And the next one I got from New Video is Citadel. Let me tell you though, this one absolutely freaked me out. It starts off in Ireland in this kind of slummish, housing unit, and it's a couple. The one woman's pregnant. They're getting ready to move out of this place. Finally, they're getting ready to start their life over with a new life and a better place. And the guy's down in the car, putting some things away, going back up to get his wife before they're out of there. The elevator that he's in ends up getting stuck, so the door won't open. He ends up seeing this gang of hooded kids, or hooded something or other, that end up injecting his wife with this serum thing. The wife ends up going into a coma, and that's after like 8 months that she's brain dead, and they, end up, just pulling the plug, but the baby is still alive. And the guy has become totally agoraphobic from this. He can't leave his house. He's freaked out about everything. He's paranoid about everything. And it's him, he's starting to kind of see some weird things, and the hooded people that kill his wife, at the funeral, the priest is like, you gotta get the hell out of here, they're coming back for you. And the hooded characters come back for him, because he's still living in the crappy kind of place where pretty much only like drug addicts and people like that live in this. It was so creepy though, these kids, or whatever you would call them, that are kind of coming after him, and it was just such a creepy, effective movie with an amazing setting. I had never, I really haven't seen anything with a setting like this that was that effective. I guess I could compare it to almost like that Chernobyl Diaries in a way, but done so much better. Kind of like that kind of a setting. That's what the setting kind of looked a little bit like, but it wasn't like Chernobyl Diaries though. Definitely would check this one out. Really creepy, really well done one. The next one from Kino is 1,000 Cuts. I thought this one was pretty good. It's shot, it kind of reminds me of a movie from like 1995 in a weird way. I think it was the music. The music kind of reminded me of like Brain Scan, and a little bit like erotic films or something from the early 90s and mid 90s. If you watch it, you know what I'm talking about with the music. I like the music, but it kind of had that feel to it. But it's about this film director who kind of makes movies like Saw and those kind of things. And he's at a party, and this guy ends up sneaking into the party, coming over the gate. Everyone leaves, and this guy comes into his house. And it turns out this guy is the father of a girl who was killed from a guy who, basically someone who saw the movie this guy made and killed his daughter the way that, the killer in his film did. So he's there to kind of teach this guy a lesson. And his sister has gone missing, and he's basically tying up this guy, the director, and it's this confrontation. Pretty much that's what the whole movie is between these two. Very well acted though. The main guy, who's the father. I thought he did a really good job in this part. I really thought this was a pretty good one, though. Not a perfect movie. It's shot a little soap opera looking, because I think it's digital and it's just a little flat looking. But, I really did like this, though. The next one is the movie. I'm pretty sure this is what, Rob Zombie got the name White Zombie, his original band name from. But it's Bela Lugosi in White Zombie, which I think is like one of the earliest like zombie films. And the zombies in this, like, they kind of move, like the slow, and they have like crazy contact lenses in. That was some of the coolest stuff in this, was the zombies in this, and the opening music, like this kind of like voodoo music, and it was very, very cool music. But it's Bela Lugosi's kind of has like, these workers that, work for him that are dead people that he brought back. And there's one guy, this girl is getting married, and the guy wants Bela Lugosi to put the girl under a spell, so she likes him. It's that kind of thing, and she ends up becoming a zombie. I don't know, it's a really cool, film with, especially the zombies, and especially since it was like one of the earliest zombie ones. The next one from Lionsgate through, the History Channel is The Men Who Built America. And this is basically talking about, Ford, Rockefeller, Carnegie, Morgan, Vanderbilt. It's talking all about, the people that, like, built the, railways, the cars, the planes, and things like that. And it's, kind of reenactments mixed with, but, like, really well done, really slick looking, segments on these characters, mixed with interviews. And there's people in this, like the one guy from Shark Tank is in it. A whole bunch of different people, even Donald Trump is in it. But it's the segments showing, the invention of the cars and the people's lives, and it just follows around these specific people and shows their lives and how they invented these things and how they changed everything. Because these are all things that if these people didn't invent, I don't know how we would like live without all this stuff. The next one from Millennium Films is The Paperboy. Now, this movie had some real mixed opinions. I actually thought I actually like this. It's Zac Efron, Matthew McConaughey, and Joan Cusack, Nicole Kidman. And Nicole Kidman comes to this kind of newspaper, and run by Matthew McConaughey and Zac Efron, and she's fallen in love with this convicted felon played by John Cusack. John Cusack is creepy in this. Like, he's all dirty and like deviant looking-ish and weird. Oh, but she's fallen in love with this guy, and he's telling her that he's innocent. So she comes to the paper with Zac Efron and Matthew McConaughey's characters and trying to have them help her prove that he's innocent by kind of doing their own investigation. And that's basically what it is. But Zac Efron ends up kind of falling in love with Nicole Kidman. There are some weird things in this. Like, one scene a lot of people talk about was Zac Efron swimming in the ocean, getting stung by a million jellyfish, and then Nicole Kidman has to pee on him. I mean, yes, it's strange. It was a strange scene. I don't know what it was about and why it was there like that, but there's some creepy stuff, especially, with the John Cusack's character. Yeah, like I said, he was creepy in this. But it's about the relationship all set during the 50s. And, Matthew McConaughey, I think, is really making some really good decisions. Because when you think about most of the stuff he did were kind of romantic comedies. And he's been doing stuff like this, and Killer Joe, and Bernie. He's been really making some good decisions, I would say, with what he's doing lately. The next one is a Juno Temple film. And Juno Temple's been doing a lot lately. She was also in Killer Joe. And it's called Little Birds, and it's about, I think it's in the Salton Sea. It's basically the sea is dead. It's a part in California where everything's like dead, and it's basically just trailer parks out in the middle of the desert, and like nothing's going on out there. It's these two girls that live out there, and they don't really have anything to do, and they end up meeting, Juno Temple's character ends up meeting these skateboard kids, and the skateboard kid lives in L.A., and he ends up leaving, and she wants to go and see him, and she ends up just getting in the idea that her and her friend are going to steal the car from the place that they work. The guy they work for is the guy who was in Ravenous with the blonde hair. He's been in tons of stuff, but they end up getting the idea of stealing the car and going on a drive and going to L.A., and and that's basically what it is. And the kid that she goes to see, he was in Haunting in Connecticut and the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. He's cool. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I really like this one though. It's kind of reminded me of like something almost like Kids, but not as out there, and Bully, that kind of movie. I really did like this one, but it's, the girl and them going out there and getting into trouble and things like that was a very good one. Leslie Mann plays Juno Temple's mother in the film. The next one from HBO is a not Carl Pilkington, that's the next one, but this is the Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant film show with Warwick Davis, Life's Too Short. To this day, I regret when I was at a horror convention, Warwick Davis was there, and I did not have him sign something. He hasn't done a convention since. I don't even know if he did one before this. I always wish I would have had him sign something. And he's also in another show I'll talk about in a second, the newest season of that. This is about a kind of a parody of Warwick Davis' life. It's done documentary style. And in this thing, Warwick Davis is kind of playing a struggling actor. He hasn't worked in a long time. Hollywood isn't calling. And, he's friends with Stephen Merchant and Ricky Gervais' character. He's always there trying to get work from them. And they're kind of like laughing at him behind his back. And he also owes all this tax money. And he has to try and find a way to raise some money to, otherwise he's going to go to jail. I really love this show. I really am a huge fan of the Ricky Gervais, everything that he's done, Extras. I thought The Office was pretty good. I like The Office, but I really love Extras. I love when he's in the stuff. And, Warwick Davis is someone that I've been a fan of for years, since the Leprechaun films, and, he was in Willow. He always kind of jokes that no one knows who he is in these shows. I've always been a fan of him. This is a great, I thought, really funny show. And the next show from BBC is, I would say, one of my all-time favorite shows, at least one of my top favorite shows ever. I absolutely love these series. And it's Idiot Abroad Series 2 with Carl Pilkington. And Carl Pilkington is this kind of naive guy that is going out, he's friends with Ricky Gervais, who I always wonder if one day we might find out as a character, but I don't know. I really do feel like he probably is the way he is, but I just don't know. But he goes to all these foreign countries, places where people would really like to go, and he's there complaining and having all kinds of problems, and they want him to jump off of this thing and go bungee jumping, and he's there complaining and lying to him about doing it. It's just such a great show. If you love like travel shows, but you like want to see one that's crazy with a weird guy that all he does is bitch about everything. He has a problem about everything. Nothing is right. It's almost like Larry David or something. It's like almost like a travel show with Larry David. And this guy points out everything. And one joke he was making about, like, you never see an old man eating a Twix. I don't know. It's just such a great show. And this also has deleted scenes on this, but this is such a good one. And the new series has Warwick Davis in it. That's where I was talking about Warwick Davis. And I wish there was a little bit more episodes. I would love to see like an Idiot Abroad the movie or something. But I know there's a new show that Carl Pilkington is acting in, but Carl Pilkington is absolutely amazing. The next one from Fox is 30 Days of Paranormal Activity with the Devil Inside the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which is a spoof film on paranormal activity. And it kind of takes elements from all these movies. So you see, like, the daughter in the house is like the girl with the dragon tattoo, and but it starts off like a storage wars with these two girls getting a storage locker, looking through it, and they find a tape that says found footage. They put it in, and it's this movie, and it's a couple that moves into a house. It's basically the Paranormal Activity spoof. The funniest stuff in this was the maid, the one maid in the house. The jokes I thought were great, and the woman, or you don't know if it's a man or a woman, it's just weird kind of androgynous character that comes to install the security cameras in the house. The woman that played that part, has a huge future. She was so funny. I mean, it was one of the funniest scenes I've seen in a long time, this sequence. I absolutely loved it. I don't know. It was a really funny sequence with her installing these cameras and the things she was saying and, putting them in the bathroom and stuff. I don't know. It was a funny sequence. But as a spoof, it's an okay spoof. It's funny this came out the same time. It's almost like the Haunted House one. But this one kind of puts more elements of stuff in it, though. It grabs spoofs of other movies and brings those kind of characters into it. But like I said, though, it's basically just following around the family, the house, and the things that are happening. The next one from Comedy Central is Anthony Jeselnik, Caligula, I think that's how you say it. And it's Anthony Jeselnik is the guy who's in all the Comedy Central roasts. I think he's pretty funny. A lot of people don't like him, or they say they don't like him because he's pretty mean with his jokes. But this also on here has his new special, but also has the uncut performances from the Donald Trump roast, the Charlie Sheen roast, and the Roseanne roast. So that's pretty cool. I do like his stuff, though. I really think he's pretty funny. The next one from Mill Creek, and these are the last ones, are season 5 and 6 of Third Rock from the Sun, which is, a great show. Has John Lithgow, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, French Stewart in it. And these are definitely ones to pick up if you don't have them. Such a fun show. But anyway, though, thanks a lot for watching, for subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.